words, no love, endurance to the work of justice as we go our way in peace, as we go our way in peace.
We now turn to the joys and the sorrows we carry individually and as a community. Will you take a breath with me? As we surrender to this moment, let us notice our body resting, grounded, supported by the earth. And as the piano begins to play, you're invited to come forward, light a candle or place a stone at the table to your right, or add a note to the Holding Our Grief wheel. And if you wish, come to the microphone, tell us your name, and share briefly from your heart so the congregation can hold you in love.
Good morning, my name is Betsy. My sorrow is for the multitude of immigrants in this country who are being violently seized from their homes in the middle of the night by masked people with no identification, seized along with their children who are traumatized, and taken without due process and arrested and sent to detention prisons around this country and then out of this country to places which are very dangerous for the immigrants. Sometimes they are zip-tied and put in full-body restraints when they are arrested. Many of them are U.S. citizens. Most have done nothing wrong, committed no crime. My sorrow is about ICE deporting immigrants from Pease Air Force Base in New Hampshire, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. The immigrants have been seen by peaceful protesters outside the gate, walking shackled along the tarmac toward the planes which deport them to other countries, which again are not safe places for them to be.
My name is John Tobin, and I lit a candle of sorrow for my friend Art Vaney, who died on Friday. I met Art when he was a divinity student and the part-time RE director here 40 years ago, and he and I each had a kid in kindergarten. We met at Rollins Park. He grew to be an amazing minister in Plymouth and in Olympia, Washington. He was a wonderful husband and father and grandfather, and he had a long decline, and his wife, Sally Gove, who grew up in this church, cared for him in such a loving way.
My name is Jim. My heart grieves for the loss of our dear friend Lauren Hill, but it was such a joy to have known him.
I'm Lisa Atwell. I'm a visitor from Redmond, Washington, and when I came last month for the first time, this is a joy. I ran into my very favorite high school teacher. I mean, I graduated in 1980, so Tom Herbert is in the back. He has had a profound impact on my entire life. I am so deeply grateful to him.
Trying to find the few words to thank everyone who's helped me on my slower journey. I think of the every time I say them, it's like the SSS. It's like
Senior Single Social Group.
Wow, that's a mouthful. Senior Single Social Group, who have been having a cooking class and just cooking me. I mean, there are some masterful cooks here. If I look like I've gained weight and I've been sick, it's all their fault. But I'm thankful for their love. I'm thankful that Lee Webster is here. And I'm thankful that for a life that was a dear life to me. She was my neighbor for 10 years. Her name was Sandra Stonebanks. And I will miss my cups of tea with her, and I will miss our meaningful conversations. And I was just sitting silently in the sunshine. She was a wonderful presence in my life. And I am just so grateful for her, and I will miss her. And I can't tell you how wonderful it is to be here with you all. You know, you are a blessing and mean a lot to me, and I thank you for all your help.
My name's Destiny, and I am so thankful to Michael for letting me join the choir.
My name is Marjorie, and as many of you know, I've had some joys lately, including my daughter and her now husband moving in kind of next door. And they got married on Saturday, so right here, right in this place. And I just so appreciate this place and for it being a nice place for them to be. But I'm really up here to say that I have a neutral to share. Yeah. So many months ago, I put a commitment on the web to have some kind of connection with my sister-in-law, who has been ill with alcohol and other complications. And through just things that I didn't plan, like my husband maintaining a connection with her and the wedding, there is now a connection. Yeah, so it's a neutral. Yeah. It's a neutral.
Good. Thank you, Marjorie. And I invite Janet to light one more candle on behalf of those who are not here with us today or who chose to remain seated. Whether your joys or sorrows have been named or remain in the silence of your heart, know that you are not alone. May we hold our earth in our hearts with joy in her nature, in awe of her majesty, power, and resilience, taking responsibility for the hurts that we have caused her. Will you take another breath with me? Please join me now in our musical meditation, number 1002 in our Teal hymnals, Comfort Me.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Be with me, be with me, be with me, oh my soul. Be with me, be with me, be with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Amen. May that be so. Our reading is by Sharon Brous from The Amen Effect, a most powerful book, published in 2024. The more open-hearted we are, the greater our vulnerability. This presents a real danger to the caregiver. I'm talking about the nurses, the doctors, the therapists, the clergy, the teachers, the home health care and hospice workers. I'm talking about my mother, she writes. Once we were leaving the emergency room after my father was treated for a bad fall when we saw a man in a patient gown, bloody, disoriented, stumbling towards the hospital exit. Everyone just stared. We were startled by the sight. But my mother approached the man without hesitation and spoke to him tenderly, guiding him back to the elevator bank that would safely return him to his room. I took the elevator up with the man to make sure he found his way. As the doors closed, he turned to me and asked in a pained and muffled voice about my mother. Does she work here? No, I said. She just really cared about people. He teared up. That's very kind of her, he said. I'm talking about the people who, by character or profession, empty themselves in care of others, even when they too are breaking or maybe even are broken already. It took me nearly 20 years, she says, of ministering to the broken-hearted and broken-bodied to begin to wonder, what happens to all the pain, the 1/60th that the healers absorb? Where does it go? What happens to the person who takes 1/60th of someone's loss and 1/60th of someone else's anxiety and 1/60th of someone else's heartbreak and 1/60th of the pain the guy on the park bench and 1/60th of the one lost in the hospital lobby. A whole field of study has emerged in recent years on secondary or vicarious trauma, looking at the cumulative toll of trauma exposure on caregivers. It manifests in all kinds of unhealthy ways, from cynicism, avoidance, numbing, overwork, and rage, right? To hypervigilance, chronic exhaustion, fear, guilt, addiction, helplessness, and hopelessness. Or for some of us, all of the above. We're talking about real physical and spiritual harm. And nevertheless, caregivers often are repelled by the idea of seeking the same support and nourishment they offer others. I am fine. Let's talk about you. It's difficult to acknowledge, let alone to give full expression to secondary or vicarious trauma, because caregivers are by nature oriented toward giving care, right? Not receiving it. Quick question here. Who sees themselves in this space here as a caregiver? Quite a few of you. Yeah, if you own that, that's fine. And who is a care receiver here? Okay, a few as well. That's good to know. And there's a guilt that comes with diverting attention from those in far greater need, right? Think of my mortification when hospital nurses turn from my congregant patients and run to get me apple juice when I faint on a visit, she writes. And there's the guilt healers experience knowing they ultimately have the luxury of walking out of that room, going home to their own family, to their own kids if they have them. Most of us who stand for the time being on the caregiver side of the equation of human suffering understand implicitly that we are in no position to complain of heartaches by secondary exposure. So instead of tending to our own broken hearts, we fortify and build internal mechanisms of pain resistance. Or we burn out and leave the field, or worse. This is human nature. Psychology professor Paul Slovic has found that when people are exposed to too much pain, we naturally experience a kind of psychic numbness, or what some call compassion fatigue. We get overwhelmed. We fear that we can't really make a difference, so rather than try and fail, we detach. The reality, Slovic concludes, is that our capacity to feel is in fact limited. Here ends our reading. Thanks for stepping in and being our choir today, Heather. It is beautiful to have you on the piano and with voice.
I am looking for shelter in a friend. We can build a beginning, but I do not know the end. I am scared of breaking when I bend. We will carry each other on the way. My courage is your courage when the journey is only getting I am full and I am running out. I'm a flooding river and I'm living through a drought. I have firm conviction and my heart is full of doubt. We will carry each other on the way. My courage is your courage when the journey is only getting longer. My strength is your strength. We will carry each other on the way. There are people I have never met. There is something special and I haven't found it yet. There's abundance given freely, taken without debt. We will carry each other on the way. My courage is your courage when the journey is only getting longer. My strength is your strength. We will carry each other on the way.
Wow. Thank you, Heather. There are two kinds of tired that visit those who care deeply. The first kind is the tired that comes from doing, from showing up again and again to teach, to plan, to volunteer, to organize, to lead. This is the weariness of long hours, big responsibilities, and endless lists. This is burnout. The second kind is the tired that comes from feeling, from holding another's pain, from listening to the ache in a friend's voice, from showing up for a world that often seems to cry out louder than we can answer. This is compassion fatigue. They're cousins, these two, alike in the way they weigh down our spirits, but different in the shape of their burdens. Burnout grows in the space between what is asked of us and the energy we have to give it. It shows up in the grind, in systems that ask more than they return, in endless yeses when our spirits have whispered, enough. Compassion fatigue grows in the space where our hearts stretch beyond capacity, when we give and give from the well of empathy until it runs dry. Not because we do not love, but because we have forgotten to return to the well ourselves. Both leave their mark on individuals and on communities. And in individuals, burnout can look like exhaustion that coffee won't fix, a sharp edge where gentleness used to be, a creeping sense of cynicism. Compassion fatigue can look like emotional numbness, a loss of capacity to care in the way we once did, or feeling overwhelmed by suffering we used to face with courage. And in communities, including congregations like ours, right, the symptoms can ripple outwards. Burnout can make one's vibrant programs feel brittle and just overextended. It can turn volunteerism into obligation, leadership into burden, service into something transactional rather than joyful. Compassion fatigue can leave us hollow where we once were tender. We still show up, but we are weary. We listen, but the world's pain feels heavier than it used to be. We forget to breathe. In May, Dan Fry shared with us lessons from a workshop we attended at a UU ministers gathering led by Amelia Nagoski. Some of you may remember. She emphasized that burnout is not a personal failure. Compassion fatigue is not a sign of weak love. They're signs of depleted wells. In the book Burnout that Amelia co-authored with her sister Emily Nagoski, they write about the stress cycle, how our bodies and hearts are wired, yes, to feel stress, move through it, and then emerge on the other side. But many of us, they say, get stuck in the middle of the tunnel, never really completing that cycle. The danger isn't the stress itself, it is living there indefinitely. They remind us that we cannot simply think our way out of burnout. We must tend the body, the heart, and the spirit. We must learn what it means to close the loop, to appear on the other side. For some, that means movement, walking, dancing, breathing deeply until the shoulders settle. For others, it's connection, being held in a hug, laughing with a friend. This is your cue, Betsy. Just recently, I was at a party with Betsy Kennedy over there, and we said we would try to give her one moment in each sermon that she could add her laughter. So thank you. Being held in a hug, laughing with a friend, creating something with our hands. It might be time alone in the woods. It might be singing together on Sunday with the choir, with the community, with the congregation, or just in the shower. It is rarely just one thing and it never looks the same for everyone. But it always involves remembering that our own light, our own lighthouse, needs to be replenished if it is to keep shining. For communities like ours, that means learning to share the work and share the care. And it means recognizing when someone has been holding the lantern for too long and then gently saying, "Let me carry it for a while." It means building rhythms of rest into the very culture of our congregation, not just into individual calendars. It means making joy, beauty, music, and play essential to our communal life as justice and service. The world needs us, but not as burnt out versions of ourselves. It needs us whole and renewed and rooted. If you're weary, it doesn't mean your love is weak. It means you've been loving hard in a weary world. If your lantern feels dim, it doesn't mean it's broken. It means it needs tending. We are called, as people living in relationship and community, to be gentle with ourselves and one another in these seasons. To practice not only giving care, but also receiving it. To learn to trust that the well of compassion deepens not through relentless pouring and pouring, but through shared tending, rest, and grace. When I first arrived here in Concord over 15 years ago, I looked at the slowing down of life of our congregation during the summer months kind of as a liability. It is something to reimagine over time. It didn't fit the notion of year-round church, quite popular, year-round church, quite popular during my time in seminary. Key not to miss anyone potentially coming in the building, right, at any time of year, the message was. Now I understand that the message missed a key element of human flourishing. The tending of the well, the recharging of the battery, the regrouping after the storm, the emptying of the cup to make space for the new. If I were the ruler of the universe, and distinctly I am not, or somehow could shape the larger culture of our economic system, I would make sabbaticals available and perhaps even obligatory for all. Yes, my 2 sabbaticals I have had so far allowed me to do some fun stuff, like come face to face with lions and rhinos walking on safari in South Africa, or take in the smells and colors and seeming chaos of markets in Marrakesh and Morocco, crisscrossing the US and Europe by train, or be an honored guest at a religious ceremony in Bali. Delightful, yes, but secondary to the long-term effect of being able to remain disengaged for months at a time from the day-to-day demands of ministry. I love what I get to do with you all. I do not fake that. I hope you can feel that. I feel a sense of purpose and joy in my bones thanks to the role I get to play in our congregation, and I'm deeply grateful every day for what the day brings, the predictable and the unpredictable, the joyful and the sorrowful, the public and the private, the diversity and range of it all. And yet, as much energy as I tend to have, and as much as my interactions with you all enliven and stimulates me again and again, those months in the summer are essential to refilling my well. And without the 2 sabbaticals I've had so far, our ministry together would feel, I don't know what, but very different. I suspect there would be a fatigue I would deny and push through and deny and push through some more until, well, I hope we will never find out. Because I do not want to follow the footsteps of quite a few of my clergy colleagues, leaving the ministry exhausted, wells dried up, disillusioned by their call, by the people they loved, and by the institutions they served. Because I would rather not include a chapter in the book I do consider writing during my next sabbatical that mirrors the stories in Sharon Browse's chapter on holding the healers. Here's what she wrote. There was a gentle soul in our community, a healer named Jordan. He walked into our house once on Shabbat dinner and noticed that my daughter Sammy seemed like she was in pain. In fact, she had been complaining of a headache ever since she got home from school. But we were racing to prepare Shabbat and suspected it was simply a strategy for getting out of setting the table. So we told her to lie down and gave her a lollipop. But Jordan sat down by her side and asked if she'd like him to try to help. She nodded solemnly, and he explained that he did acupuncture or acupressure. And if he put his hands on her little foot, he might be able to relieve her of her headache. I'm not sure what exactly he did, she writes, but Jordan understood the sacred power of human touch when wielded with care. It's possible Sammy just needed someone to take her pain seriously Within minutes, she was her sweet self again, running around the house, giggling, her golden curls bouncing with every step. Jordan's tender heart was wide open, always ready to nurse our wounds with love. But he was carrying a weight that was too great to bear, and he suffered profoundly. He never wanted to hurt a soul, but his soul hurt so badly. After his death by suicide, we wondered if maybe he had filled up on all the pain from his patients, family, and friends until his body could take no more. I think about Jordan a lot, she writes, in part because I've witnessed over the years how his beautiful mother, Ellen, has held and processed grief, how this loss has awakened in her great sadness and also a fevered desire to live with greater immediacy. And in part because I know that what happened to him could happen to any of us, from the professional healers to the loving friends. If we take 1/60th of each person's pain again and again, we eventually reach a point of saturation. It's just math. 1/60 times 60 equals 60/60 equals 1. I've always been aware of the danger of caregivers' breakage, she says. I've watched brilliant and talented colleagues leave the field, and I've seen friends reach the point of collapse when they've simply given all they've got, when the work has drained their spirits and broken their marriages, and they've left with only exhaustion, resentment, and regret. Even still, I was fine, she writes, until I wasn't. She continues, I wrote earlier of the tragic death of my dear cousins in rapid succession. In fact, my cousin Nancy died just as I sat down to write this book. After 18 years as at ICAR, the temple she serves in LA, my sabbatical began with a week of quiet, away from my family and community in a humble retreat center in Costa Rica. This time was a sacred gift, a precious moment to reconnect with a still small voice. I yearned for a breath, a reorientation, and the space to refill the parts of my spirit that had been depleted after many years in the work. I arrived on a Friday, unpacked, and sat down outside, breathing in the vastness around me. I took out my computer to begin to write, knowing I had a few hours before sunset and the beginning of Shabbat. I looked at the blank screen. How does one start a book that's been percolating for 2 decades? And all I could see were images of my beautiful cousins Lizzie and Nancy dancing before me. I remembered how as little girls, my sister and I would run up to their bedroom, and they, a few years older than us, would teach us how to put on makeup with the softest pillow puff applicator. We would play dress up and giggle, and we never wanted to leave. Now Lizzie was gone, and Nancy was near the end. I hadn't been writing for an hour when I got the call. Nancy had just died. Everyone I loved was thousands of miles away. Again, this is her writing. And there I was, alone on a mountain as the sun began to set. I stared at the sky, scarlet and magenta streaks coursing through the cloud formations, all of it beautiful and awe-inspiring and devastating. And then I suddenly felt a sharp pain pressing on my right shoulder. Maybe I had somehow pulled a muscle or tweaked a nerve, or could I be imagining it? by the time the darkness rolled in, pain was pulsing down my arm. I went back to my room to dress for Shabbat dinner and found that my arm was completely immobilized. I couldn't even put on a sweater. I started to worry, wondering what would happen if I couldn't shake this thing. Was I about to spend Shabbat alone in a Costa Rican hospital? Why hadn't I paid more attention to high school Spanish? I finally made my way to dinner and sat down at an empty table off in the corner. Another visitor in the retreat center asked if she could join me. And although I, for once, was not in the mood to make friends, I truly did not want to be alone. Slightly terrified, but trying not to be alarmist, I asked her if she knew if there was a nurse or a doctor on site. I thought I might need some medical attention for a mysterious pain in my arm. She told me that she herself was a healer, a doctor, a physical therapist, a witch. She didn't specify. But either way, it felt like a miracle. She offered to meet me the next morning for a treatment. I walked back to my room shortly afterwards, embarrassed that I could barely lift a fork without wincing. I went to bed early, only to lie awake, crying all night to no one as the pain grew increasingly severe. When the sun finally rose, I, bleary-eyed, made my way to our meeting place. This woman, the healer, looked at me with loving eyes, and I burst into tears. I believe it is grief you're holding, she said. What do you mean? It's a pulled muscle, maybe a dislocation, I tried to explain. No, she said, that's not what it is. Tell me, who died? I went silent. Was she for real? Had she been eavesdropping on my calls to the family before Shabbat? But I was short on alternatives and desperately in need of her help. I admit it, we just had a death in the family yesterday. May I touch your shoulder, she asked. I nodded, only to cry out in agony as she gently pressed her hand against my shoulder. My dear, she said, this is not one loss, but many. You're carrying years of pain and grief in this arm. May I ask, what do you do? I'm a rabbi, I told her. She seemed not to understand. So I explained, like a Jewish priest or pastor. Ah, that makes sense. You bury people. Well, if you wonder where the pain goes, it lives right here in your body tissue. I'm sorry to tell you, if you don't stop to metabolize the suffering will stop you. Over the next 2 hours, she somehow released the pain from my shoulder. And a day later, I was back to a full range of motion. But even more important, she helped me understand that after 20 years in the rabbinate, that grief burrows deep into the body. If we fail to digest and release what we've absorbed, at some point we fill up with other people's sorrow. The healer's tenderness towards me also helped me realize how Rabbi Yohanan, the healer, got sick in the first place. How much of his friend's pain entered his system before he just shut down himself. He healed, and then he broke. Only then could he learn that he needed some of what he was used to giving. The prisoner cannot free himself. There is no shame in recognizing that our own systems require the medicine we so freely share with others. In fact, it is an act of self-love to let someone else take your hand and lift you up, especially if you're used to doing the heavy lifting yourself. I couldn't agree more. As hard as that can be for me, and I suspect for many of you. So may we learn to step out of the tunnel together. May we let our wells refill. And may we remember that the work of love is sustained not by burning ourselves out, but by tending to the flame and tending to the flame together. And may that be so. Amen and Ashe. Thank you for your generous support of last week's outreach offering to support the Granite State Children's Alliance. Today's community plate will support the Capital Region Food Program, an all-volunteer nonprofit working to reduce hunger throughout the Greater Concord area since 1974. Annually, they give more than 110 tons of food to hungry people. The year-round distribution project provides cases of food each month to local food pantries and social service agencies. The Holiday Voucher Project lets people get food appropriate to their cultural traditions and special dietary restrictions. Because the Capital Region Food Program is an all-volunteer program, 100% of contributions help end hunger. A morning offering will now be gratefully received. you. May we be transformed by our giving. May the world be transformed by our gifts. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, number 1021 in our teal hymnals, Lean on Me. Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, I'll be your friend, I'll be carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't measure. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. There is a load you have to bear that you can't carry. Right up the road, I'll share your load. If you just follow me, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a friend. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Let's do that. Lean on each other and go out into the world with just a little bit more peace in our hearts, honoring one another, listening with that open heart, staying curious, have courage and be kind, embrace the mystery, welcome awe, and live always the way of love. I now invite you to extinguish your chalice at home as Jim extinguishes our chalice here in the sanctuary. Please join me in reading aloud the words on our screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of this faith we share, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now please join me in singing our unison benediction, and if you're comfortable joining hands or elbows, go ahead and reach out, and if not, reach out with your heart to all of us worshiping with you, knowing that you are not alone.
you.